Sunny ways, my friends, sunny ways.
So the answer to that is to stop being stupid.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
We have recently switched to drinking water bottles out of water out of when we have water bottles out of plastic. Away from plastic towards paper, like drink box water bottles, sort of thing.
Well, Lottie frickin' God!
You're ready to fight, aren't you? I can feel it!
I intend to resign as party leader, as prime minister.
Is this true?
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Sorry?
The servicing costs on the debt that you're going to have to carry, that you're adding to now, right?
Interest rates are at historic lows, Glenn.
Where's the funds?
On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
He's announcing a catalog, everybody! Hey, everybody, give him a round of applause. Come on, give him a round of applause. You can't afford a home. You might end up in a tent. Your rent is doubled, but hey, you've got a brand new catalog.
When I'm prime minister, I will keep my promises. Now, another promise. Let me try it again.
A lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but
Like who?
I don't know who, but...
Well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know somebody.
We need to trigger an axe the tax election as soon as possible.
We'll do it live. No, we'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Yeah, that's all that's coming off. There's nothing else coming off, yeah. I'm not Justin Trudeau here.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Fringe. Welcome to Unhinged Fringe Rando Stream. It's good to be here tonight. We got a lot to talk about. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're enjoying your day and your week. Man, YouTube has really been dropping the ball lately on notifying people. I think they're mad because I'm questioning King Carney. Put a thumbs up below the video. Click that thumbs up button. Hit the like. Let's get out there in the algorithm. A little slow with the viewers tonight, so I don't know if there's an issue with the notifications, with the distribution, but if you hit that thumbs up right below the video here, not in the chat, but below the video, it helps tell people that we're live and they should be in here watching what's about to go down. Let's see how high we can get that viewer count tonight. But before we get started, while you're hitting that button, hit the subscribe button. It's all that matters. It's all we're here for. Let's be honest. This is a business. I'm kidding. My kids asked me today, Dad, when are you getting that silver play button? I said, by Christmas. It's coming by Christmas. Hit the subscribe if you haven't yet, folks. I might have to get Christopher Walken to come in here and say, guys, please, if you can, hit that button. Hit the subscribe button. If you know what's good for you. Oh, that was a terrible walk-in. I'm off on my walk-in. Let me get my walk-in moving here. Let me get flowing. Let's start with a roll call. We'll drop a few voices. Let's see if we can get somebody from every province in the country watching. Let me know where you're watching from if it's your first time here. And we'll make sure to feature you in the chat. We'll get to everybody we can. But let's make it quick, shall we? Rich coming in. Orange Man bad election will fail. A unity election has a chance. We're going to talk about elections tonight. Nelson coming in from New Brunswick. Becca coming in from Lloyd. Great to have you here. Luca. Derek, how? I'm sleeping on the couch. I got a fever, and the only prescription is my couch. No, I'm not sleeping on the couch. Mrs. Fringe is upstairs packing. She doesn't know what's going on down here tonight. You know what really grinds my gears? Ram Ryder coming in from London, Ontario. Welcome into the stream. Great to have you here. Donovan coming in. Pierre is the real PM. We'll see. We're going to talk about that tonight. Marta Holding coming in from Nanaimo, BC. Mike Freedom Honey coming in from Beaver County. The good Beaver County militia represent. Got my membership. Love Mike hanging out in here. Great to see you, Mike. Kimberly coming in from Aurora, Ontario. Elena saying, "Can you ohm again for a few seconds? Can I ohm? What is ohm? Can I? Do you want me to do like a Justin Trudeau? Carol and Gerald from Calgary. We're all in this together. They're coming in. I can't do a Justin Trudeau, and I don't want to. From Calgary, Alberta. Welcome into Carol and Gerald. Great to have you guys here. Mike from Ampere, Ontario. We got Sandy. I hope you're having a great day as well. Lucas chiming in from good old Burnaby, BC. Itsuki Link coming in from Quebec. Welcome in. Back in Quebec from Japan. Welcome in. It's great. Or as Street Fighter always said, Japan. Well, it's great to have you in here. We got Carbon Tax Carson coming in from Porno Viagra. Great to have you here. Carbon Tax Carson, chime in. Let me know if your book arrived yet. I sent that out a while ago. I'm hoping it gets there soon. Meh says, that's a very cool intro, by the way. We're going to have to change that up a bit because now that Trudeau's gone, I'm still going to keep some funny clips in there. The seal clapping ain't going nowhere, I can tell you that. But we're going to have to inject some current stuff in there for you. We got Save Canada coming in from Fox Creek, Alberta. Keith from Elkhorn, Manitoba. I love that town. I used to go through there frequently on my way to Wawanesa, where my mother's family's from. Kathleen's also in Manitoba. Oh yeah. We got Motherfucker coming in from Montreal into Hood. Yeah. Oh yeah. Welcome in. Great to have you here. Goko Donnie. Unacceptable Fringe. I got my sweater. Cheers again. I appreciate that. While we're on it, Goko Donnie also gifted 5 Unacceptable Fringe memberships to the Patriots Club prior to the stream. Thank you to Goko Donnie for doing that. Speaking of which, guys, next Friday, not this upcoming Friday, but the next Friday at the end of the month is going to be our live giveaway on Friday Night Fringe. So make sure you have your Patriots Club memberships. The only way you qualify for our giveaway is if you're a Patriots Club member. Hit the join button down below, become a member of the Patriots Club. You're automatically entered into that draw. Amber joining us from Nova Scotia. Welcome in. Joseph from Raymond, Alberta. A604 from BC. Tracy coming in from Nova Scotia. We got Art coming in from Ontario, Canada. Steel City Coach. How? Stony Creek, Ontario. Guys, Giovanni Stokman's coming in from Roblin, Manitoba. He's crazy. He likes the streams. Welcome in. How? It's good to have you in here. Mike, TV Dub, my favorite mod named Mike, joining us from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Gwen in from Nova Scotia. We've got Wayne coming in from, can I pronounce that one? Zeteneo, Mexico. He's coming in from Mexico. Okay. Wayne, thank you for joining us. It's good to have another Mexican viewer in here besides Carson. Roxy, hello, coming in. Or is that like the Seinfeld? Hello, coming in from Kendora Island in BC. Welcome in. It's good to have you in here. Sandy in from Winlow, BC. Is that Winlow? Winlaw, BC. Vox Guitars rock. They do indeed. Coming in from Fort Erie, Ontario. We've got Alina coming in from Hamilton. Gina from Saskatchewan once again. Guys, I got to get up in the chat. Republic of Alberta in the house. How? We got to have more cowbell.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
More cowbell. We got to get to the stream today. Thank you, CB. Welcome into the stream. It's great to have you guys in here. We got a lot to talk about. Of course, no doom and gloom tonight. If you guys saw the title of the stream, while this is Unhinged Fringe, we're going to get a little unhinged. Don't let us fool you. When Mrs. Fringe isn't around, things are going to get a little wild. They're going to get crazy. But before we do, there's business to take care of, ladies and gentlemen. The memes must make an appearance. I know that's what you're here for. So without further ado, let's jump into the memes, shall we? Let's get some memes going. This one is kind of sacrilege. Somebody sent this my way. In fact, it was Mrs. Fringe, separated at birth. Oh, you got that drunk bastard, Mr. Leahy, sitting in the bottom. Separated at birth with Mark Carney and Mr. Leahy. Rest in peace, Mr. Leahy. But, well, they both hang out with fat fox named Randy. But, good old man. I am the liquor. There it is. I was waiting for it. Thank you for throwing that one in. I am the liquor, indeed. Don't have many memes tonight. I like this one. This one was sent to me on Twitter today. Please don't shoot. Please don't shoot. I'm retarded. Prove it. I'm going to vote Liberal because they got rid of Justin Trudeau. There you go. Truer words couldn't be said, but he's definitely retarded. If you watched my video on Mark Carney today, chaticizing Rosemary Barton for questioning his assets. Of course, he told her to stick her head up her assets. Look inside yourself, Rosemary. Elbows up. I like this one. OAO. Yes, OAO sent that one to me. There you go. Thank you so much for sending that one my way. Anytime you guys want, tag me on Twitter, send me memes, email the memes to me over at unacceptablefringeyt@gmail.com. If they're appropriate enough, I'll get them in on the streams. I'll get them in. Let's get to one more, shall we? Mrs. Fringe sent me this one too, and that's how the RCMP investigates corruption. Truer words couldn't be said. When you see that smirk on Mark Carney's face, the devil smirk. BJ, $5. If Canadians, I will rephrase, if Ontarians and Quebecers elect another Liberal government, Alberta needs to leave Canada. No joke. BJ, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I couldn't agree more. That's all that's going to wrap it up for memes today, folks, because I got to save the good stuff for Friday. I can't do all the good memes. Oh, there's OAO sent that one also. Okay, I didn't get that one, but Mrs. Fringe sent me that one just before the show. Lauren saying, only the Trump voice is the best voice on this stream. I need Trump. We need the Donald to make an appearance in the live streams. Talking in Canada, not Guatemala. Mark Carney is a corrupt parliamentarian. Doesn't even have a seat. He doesn't want to negotiate with me at the table. He doesn't want to talk about the tariffs. He doesn't want to talk about bringing an end to tariffs because he's a loser. He jetted off to England to talk to King Charles, maybe about some of his connections with ties with people like Prince Andrew. Apparently, they went to an island. They hang around islands a lot near Guatemala. Let's talk about that. There was some controversy going on. See, you guys, I got to stop doing these voices because Chowning on the DMs saying, I want some Charles Montgomery Burns to make an appearance. Excellent. We need to talk a little bit about Mark Carney. I know you guys hate him already. We hate him. We all hate him. Mark Carney, let's get into it. Mark's done some questionable things. Oh, hold on. The stream froze again while I'm trying to get the software running for you guys. There we go. Mark Carney. I want to highlight a post here by my dear friend Viva Fry. Good old David. Coming out with a great tweet today. I'm just putting together a timeline here. Mark Carney becomes the governor of the Bank of England and moves to London in 2013. He's photographed at a music festival in 2013, as seen below here, with Ghislaine Maxwell. Also in 2013, he sends his then 13-year-old daughter to the now discredited and defunct Tavistock Clinic for transgender therapy. Now, a lot of people were saying this week, hey, you shouldn't attack his kids. Leave the kids out of it. It's just like Trudeau. It's just like everybody else. Don't bring the kids into it. I got sour news for everybody. His kid is what, like 24 years old, 22, somewhere around there? She's an adult. And I will say she, because I don't care how she identifies. She is a female. That's where it stays. Canadian guy, Wyatt Claypool, gives great advice on why we shouldn't panic. I'm sure he does, but this is the Fringe. I'm going to give you guys some good advice as to why we shouldn't panic. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Forget Wyatt Claypool. Hang out here on the Fringe. You're going to get good advice. I promise. I swear. Guys, give me some time. I'm going to clear the air. We're going to talk about Why you shouldn't panic. Old Donald's got your back. Hold on. In 2014, he attends a private party at Prince Andrew's, well after Prince Andrew's salacious connection to and relationship with Jeffrey Epstein has been revealed. And now the bootlicking sycophants in Calgary, in Canadian politics and media want to shut down any and all conversation about these facts because it's off limits to discuss matters involving kids. Even when those kids are now 24-year-old activists and underlying issues and matters in judgment policy of the highest order. Sorry, I call BS. Of course, you see all the evidence down here of Mark Carney, Ghislaine Maxwell, etc., and party. This is a big deal. Apparently, the EU is the go-to now. I know Mark got up and went to the EU. I want to talk a bit about that tonight because, guys, I got a video coming out. It's coming around talking about Mark Carney and what he's allowed to do, what he's not allowed to do. He doesn't have enough cowbell. We're going to get into it. Hang on. I want to highlight this video posted by the pleb because it's important when we talk about this connection. I've talked about this. We covered this on the channel. This has to do with the sheep. You don't mean Greta Thunberg? Yeah, I know she looks like Greta. We talked about this video through Rebel News on a recent video where a boomer was losing his mind because we're asking this question. Why was Mark Carney hanging out with Ghislaine Maxwell? We don't know about Mark Carney's assets. We don't know about his conflicts of interest. We don't know anything about Mark Carney, yet he's allowed to be Justin Trudeau's replacement. Now, it's key that we talk about that just as his replacement. That's going to come into play later on in the stream. But look at this video. Let's watch this video really quick. Let's take a look at what gets said in this video. Because another friend of the channel, Alexa Lavoie, gets absolutely berated by a woke boomer for asking a simple question.
Our message on our truck.
I think it's appalling. I think you should be ashamed of yourself.
For which reason?
Because you're fascists. Rebel News is a fascist organization.
You don't think that he should disclose his relationship with a convicted sex trafficker?
He's standing beside someone.
No, I've been seeing also another photo hanging out in the grass.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Get away from me.
No, but like, you don't think that he should actually be accountable of certain things that he did? He's the prime minister now.
What did he do?
Just answering the question to disclose the relationship. That's
I know what Rebel News is. I have no respect for you. It's yellow journalism. Turn the camera off.
You don't know even who I am. So you're ready to just call names to someone? Thank you for the finger. He did a finger to me and called me a fascist. What?
He gave the finger to me and called me a fascist. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. This is absurd. Now, we should be allowed to ask questions in this country. We should be allowed to ask, what are your relationships to these people? Why are you photographed with them on multiple occasions if you claim that it was just a photo bomb that took place? Canada Guy, $2 super chat. That guy looks like Angry Grandpa. He looks like he needs Jesus, is what he looks like. I'm sure he goes home to his house of cats and cries himself to sleep on his phallic-shaped pillow every night. That being said, we have a right to know Mark Carney's ties. He's in charge of the country. We have a right to know where his assets are. We have a right to know any conflicts of interest. As he tells reporters, look inside yourself, don't question my finances. And he's already been rumored by Robert Fife, saying that you're basically blacklisted from media events if you dare question Mark Carney's financial ties, if you question his assets. That should be a massive, massive red flag for anyone who wants to vote Liberal or still supports the Liberals in any fashion. If somebody said to me tomorrow, Or let's put it in a better situation. I was going to use a certain analogy. Let me put it in this analogy. If Mrs. Fringe came to me and said, "Are you cheating on me, Derek?" And I said, "No, no." And she said, "Well, I've heard your phone going off at 3:00 in the morning. Can I check your phone?" If I had nothing to hide, I'd say, "Sure, go through my phone. Feel free. I have nothing to hide. I'm transparent. You can go through my records. You can see whatever you like." Now, I'd probably question why she's asking me those things. But if I have nothing to hide, I don't have to worry because she's not going to find anything. However, if I were doing something wrong and said, "No, no, 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 I don't want you going through my phone. I don't want you looking at my messages." Well, all of a sudden, how do you scream guilty without like, do you get what I'm saying here? Everybody's asking Mark Carney, "Why don't you disclose your assets and your involvement?" He goes, "No, no, no, nope. You don't need to know about that, and you shouldn't be asking me those questions." Can you imagine what's going to happen when he has to debate Pierre Poilievre? Like, this is insane. Liberals will do what CBC directs them to do. Well, here's the question, and I want to ask this because Rosemary Barton's getting grilled. We all know that she asked Mark some pressing questions when he sat with her in her studio recently for an interview, and he didn't like the questions that she asked. And again, she was very forthcoming. But now today, or yesterday, I should say, in his presser, she asked about his finances and was grilled. So my question is do you guys believe this was a setup to try and give credit to the CBC or to make them look like they're actually conducting journalism, or do you think it was a genuine question of concern? Mark with a $10 super chat. What exactly do we stand for? Right now, Canada is a failed experiment. Let's move on and join a real country, the USA. I want to talk about that a little bit tonight. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Was creepy when he said what he said to Rosie. It was creepy what he said to both journalists. Lady Death Razor saying, yes, it's a total setup. Derek saying it's a straightforward question. It should be a straightforward question. I'm worried that what they're trying to do here is something along the lines of Andy Kaufman. They're pulling in Andy Kaufman. Hang on. Rosie went home after getting beat down and tore up her pictures of Mark Carney. There you go. The libs are not that clever, says somebody. It says Donovan. Goko, $2 super chat. Who dared Rosemary, and what was the bet? I don't know. Canadian guy, $2 super chat. Carney's going to be worse than Biden in a debate. I'm worried that Joe Biden's actually under a rubber mask and it's not Mark Carney. This is like Scooby-Doo. Let's see who's really behind the mask, and it's Sleepy Joe Biden. Joe Biden. But here's what I'm worried about with when I say he's pulling in Andy Kaufman. So if you remember back in the day, Andy Kaufman, or if you've ever seen Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey, there was a time when Andy Kaufman was calling out wrestlers, and he went toe-to-toe with Jerry the King Lawler. And they had this feud on TV for a long time, and people really bought into it. And they thought, wow, Andy Kaufman's a real jerk. You know, he's slandering women. He's attacking women in sports and all these things. He's a chauvinist. He's a sexist. He's a jerk. And Jerry Lawler said, fight me. They got in slapping matches on TV. They made it look like a really big feud. And really in the background, just like all wrestling, it was a production. It was nothing more than a stunt to make Andy Kaufman newsworthy and to bring up wrestling in the media. It was a promotion. So what I'm worried about is that the CBC is setting up the same thing with the Liberals to say, look, people don't trust us. People don't trust our opinions. So let's make it look like we're asking some real hard questions. And then Mark Carney can act like he's pissed off at the CBC. And in turn, we get a little bit of credit back, and Mark Carney looks like he's not fixated on any news outlets or showing favoritism. Now, maybe it's just me, but again, if I'm totally making this up out of thin air, you'll have to excuse me after 10 years of being lied to by our government on a level never seen before. Carney's illegitimate in our government? Of course he is. He doesn't have a mandate. He cannot attend. He's got the coof. Derek saying, I don't think so. Okay, well, and that's fine. This is why I'm asking you guys. This is why I like having these streams. Arctic Ian, by the way, I saw you chiming in from Nunavut. Thank you for joining the stream tonight. Probably planned interaction between Barton and PM Carbon Tax Carney. Yes, Poilievre did announce he's not allowing CBC on his plane or his bus. That's going to be interesting. Who's he going to talk to? Because he doesn't want to talk to independent journalists. Master Snatch chiming in. The CBC damn well knows which party will butter their bread. Absolutely. Miss Danny saying the Trump mimic. Derek does a really good job at this. He does the best. I know people who do the Donald Trump voice. Many people try to talk like Donald Trump. None quite like Unacceptable Fringe in Canada. Canada, home of the tariffs. Thank you for the kind words, Miss Danny. Atsuki Link, I don't trust any mainstream means, neither does any government. I'm the same. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. The problem is that when we look at that video questioning Ghislaine Maxwell with Rebel, the boomer generation, and I only say this, look, I know I've got a lot of older viewers in my chat. I've looked at the statistics. I've looked at the numbers of viewers, the ages of viewers on my platform. But when I visit like my father and I see his generation, the baby boomer generation, 1950s babies, a lot of them still watch mainstream media. They watch Bloomberg, they watch CBC, they watch CTV, they watch Global, and they still tend to believe at times, a vast percentage of them, statistically, that the government is on their side. This is how we still have people willing to vote for the Liberal Party despite corruption, despite feuding and scandals and lies and non-disclosure of funds and everything to do with the corruption. Rob says Gen X. Yeah, Gen X. Gen X represent. I'm Gen X. Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. MEDW, I'm a boomer. I do not watch mainstream media. That's why we're here. I agree. There are people in the boomer generation that don't watch mainstream media. There's a lot of people that are still starting to wake up. But what I'm talking about is that the psyops that go on within mainstream media and the government, especially when their jobs are being threatened. Don't forget, Pierre Poilievre is going to completely axe their business out. That it's survival of the fittest. If you can get advertising, if you can get people to pay for your propaganda, by all means, continue functioning as a business. But the government isn't going to be wasting money on propaganda. So their jobs are all hanging in the balance. So of course they're going to work with Mark Carney to make sure he gets in. The good news, folks, the good news, I don't think he's going to get there. A lot of people are starting to say, what are we fighting for in this country anymore? Why are we fighting? Is it worth saving? I've had a lot of people, there's a lot of pro 51st state people in this community, and you're allowed to feel that way. I sympathize, and I shouldn't say I sympathize. I understand and somewhat agree with those opinions, because a lot of people who are pro 51st state aren't that way because they hate Canada. They love their country, but they hate their government. They hate the corruption. They hate the abuse. They hate the boot on their neck. They hate that every time they feel that things are working out for them, it flip-flops and you find out that the politicians who should have been on your side are pulling strings in the background to screw your life over. People are fed up with the abuse, and they don't see another option. So there's nobody here who's unpatriotic when they say, I'm ready for the 51st state. All they are is defeated. They have no other choice. And I'm not saying you're weak by having that opinion when I say defeated. I mean, you just can't take it anymore. Enough is enough. The problem is that anytime I leave this country, I carry a passport that's got the maple leaf on it. And I have to believe, as naive as it is, that my ancestors fought and died for me to make sure that I wasn't going to give it up easily. And I've said numerous times, I'll say it again, if this country were to lose the next election, if things were to go to hell, and this isn't like Trump derangement syndrome. It's not saying like, oh, I just can't stand Mark Carney, I'd leave. If the country falls to globalists that are going to rape and pillage this country financially, I would I would probably start saying we don't have any other choice as well. But I have to believe that in the coming months, we have an opportunity to fight for this country. And as much as people say, well, I don't trust Pierre or I don't trust everything they're talking about, it's still a better situation than a globalist that wants to rip this country apart and sink it financially for their own gains. I have to believe that good things will come out of Pierre being the Prime Minister of Canada. I don't want to completely give up on this country yet. Not without a fight. The coming federal election, I believe, is Canada's last stand. It's its last stand on many fronts. I'm seeing it more and more and more. Even a good friend of mine, Keith Wilson, lawyer to the Freedom Convoy, posting on Twitter the other day that the growing numbers in Alberta for separatism, for 51st state, independence from Confederacy, from the Crown, those numbers are starting to grow. And I think that if this election doesn't go with a Conservative government winning a majority, those numbers are going to increase. And I'll talk about why. Reg with a $5 super chat. As an Albertan, I almost feel like Custer at his last stand. Stand tall, Fringers. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I couldn't agree more. Goko Donnie, $2. If Carney wins, all indie channels die, full stop. Yeah, that's what they're rumor and speculating. I mean, they're talking about killing X in Canada because, you know, Elon bad, Orange Man bad. See, Donovan Kelly saying, give it up. Apple Poilievre isn't real. He's better than Mark Carney. He's better than Jagmeet Singh. BJ $2 super chat. Alberta should become the 51st state. So there again, I don't disagree with that position because I understand it. I just feel like I'm giving the finger to my ancestors that defended this country and its freedoms. If I just say, okay, enough, I'm going to go. Mark Pope, $10 super chat. Our West, our destiny is not in our hands. And as you pointed out, we're overwhelmed with stupid people. I will not be governed by stupid people anymore. And we need to go. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Ruth saying, all these YouTubers being pro 51st, I'm so ashamed of them. And we'll take the off. So there's definitely a conflict in this country where people stand, where I'm not advocating to surrender our country. And I'm going to say why in a second. I'll get into it. But I'm also not disagreeing with it either. Because what I'm doing here, folks, is I'm taking a step back. And I'm looking at the bigger picture. Why are people upset? Why are people asking for that? Why are there those who don't want to give it up? What are the benefits? What are the cons if we were to take a deal, if we were to do so? Itsuki Link, becoming a new member of the Patriots Club. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Patriots Club. I want you guys to think about this for a second. If Alberta were to become the 51st state, if we were to merge with the United States, when you look at the unions, keep in mind QP in Alberta, when you look at the left voters that have flooded this province, it's only going to give more Democrat voters in the United States. And Donald Trump is only going to be in for so long. Donald Trump is not going to be president forever. I'd sure love it if he could be. But even if J.D. Vance runs in the next election, at some point in time, a Democrat will take office again. Even though CNN even shows their polls showing only a 29% approval for Democrats, at some point in time, you're going to disagree with your government again. It's not always going to work the way you want it to. So what are the benefits of getting away from a government that we can demand better representation from? That's where I'm saying, and where I've said before, we need to demand more. When these MPs come to our doors, when we go to Pierre's rallies, keep in mind, Pierre's a great man. He will actually stay behind and meet with everybody and talk with people after the rallies. He stays until everybody's left. And he hears what you have to say, even if he only gives you a minute or two, because he's got to get to everybody. Everyone who meets with him has the opportunity to say, what about recall legislation? What about changing our Constitution? What about amending things so that we don't end up in this mess again? When do citizens get power back? I want those things answered and promised if I'm going to give you my vote. Those rallies, the email addresses that they provide, the meet and greets that MPs do, those are all opportunities for Canadians to go and express what they're looking for out of their government. It's to give feedback. And if you don't go there screaming like a raving lunatic, chances are they'll listen to you. And if enough people are going there saying, look, I want to support you, but until I start seeing benefits for Canada, for Canadians, until I hear you saying you're going to kick out the illegal immigrants that are in our country, until I hear you say you're going to stop taxing overtime, until I start hearing you saying things that are actually going to benefit us and not newcomers, I'm out. I like Pierre's talk, even on things like, hey, save GST on a brand new home. Well, that's nice, but who can afford a home in this country? Those are for people coming here from other countries. Those are people selling their old homes and buying a brand new one. It doesn't benefit everyone. Carbon Tax Carson, $2 super chat. 500 likes for some free memberships. Wow. Guys, get those thumbs ups in the chat. Nilok, $5 super chat. Doge is destroying their funding, so it'll be hard for them to take charge again. I think Trump sees the lines being redrawn. It might be US or EU. So yeah, Mark Carney has been out there pitching that we should join EU. So while everybody's mad about 51st state, Carney's trying to sell us out to the EU. So which would you guys rather have? Goko Donnie, $5 super chat. If you're fighting a monster, you need a bigger monster. It's what to do with a newly credited monster after a win that's the problem. WW2 anyone? Yeah, I agree. Thank you for the super chat, Goko Donnie. Ruth saying whoever's not for Canada and wants to join the US, go now. Yeah, that doesn't make you a traitor. Ruth, I appreciate your opinion, but the reason I'm saying it doesn't make you a traitor, again, I understand that people are fed up. They don't feel like there's any other answer. Nobody wants to betray or leave their country. Nobody wants to smear the Canadian flag. But what would be a solution? What would be a valid solution that's acceptable to those people that have been abused, that have been run out of their jobs, that have lost their living, that have lost their financial futures because of an abusive government dictatorship? Some people don't feel like there's any other solution. Canadian guy, $5 super chat. When Pierre does a rally near me, I will bring my guitar and jam my song parody, Pierre Poilievre, to the tune of Johnny Be Good. Oh, there you go. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Doc Luke, $9.99 super chat. Democrats will never recover similarly to what they had to do in 1991. The progressive era is over, likely for decades. I sure hope so. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Again, I'm looking at the way I see parties fluctuate in elections. I'm not an American, so I don't want to pretend that I understand Democrats and Republicans. I think that when you look at Donald Trump's address to the nation in Congress, I think that spoke very loudly what people think of the Democrats, the way they behaved. Look at this. Rick saying, I lost my oil company. Like, how is he a traitor if he says, I lost everything I have here? I want out of this country because they don't care about us. I can't get ahead. I'm telling you right now, Snatch has it perfect here. People are free to move wherever they choose. It doesn't make you a traitor. Viva took a lot of flack when he left Canada to move to Florida. A lot of people called him a traitor. He just wanted a better life for his family. I don't blame him. at the end of the day, we have to think about what's best for each of us individually. And it doesn't mean we don't love our country, but some people don't have any other answer. I'll tell you right now. See, I know I'm tired of all this. It has to stop. I agree. I'm telling you right now, on YouTube, having YouTube and doing YouTube for a living with my wife, with her, well, she's soon to be unemployed as of Thursday, but with her having her job, we're making more money than we've ever made as a couple in our lives, because we both have reasonable incomes. I'm not rich, she's not rich, but combined we have a reasonable income. And what's funny is that even though it's the most combined that we've ever made collectively, we still live check to check. When we should be able to put our feet up at this point and start saying, okay, we're in our mid 40s, we've done our time, we've taken our shots, we've sacrificed, we've saved, we've done the hard stuff. You know, we got our first down payment. We owned our house for a decade. We've paid down into equity. We should have easier options in our lives, easier living. We should be able to breathe a little bit easier. Nope. Not under this government. You know, Mark Carney lowered the carbon tax to 0%, and they're saying, yeah, April 1st, it's going to come down. My gas went up 6 cents a liter in Calgary today after lowering the carbon tax. And they say, well, when they lower it, it's going to bring down 17 cents a liter. Well, 6 of it just got tacked on today. So my guess is it'll artificially go up 17 cents a liter just so we're paying the same when they get rid of the carbon tax. Nilok, $5 super chat. To the people telling us to leave, we ask why you come to conservative provinces and vote in communism. Why do you vote in a way that makes you feel that way? Valid point. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Yeah, see, Stinger saying April 1st is 17 cents less. But what I'm saying is that it's going up. And the funny thing is that in Calgary, of all places, the fuel prices usually are the same across the city. Right now, you can go within 2 blocks and they're all over the place. One station today was 155. Another one was 149. Another one was 142 down the road. They don't know where to price their gas. And all that screams to me is price fixing. So I get that it doesn't go down till April 2nd, but what I'm saying is that my concern is that it's artificially going to increase. Just like it does every May long weekend, just like it does in the summertime. And they always have the excuse, oh, people are driving more. People are doing more. I'm not buying it this time, guys. I believe they're just boosting it up. Len saying, Rick, I'm sorry you lost your company. I'm very sorry too. I should have mentioned that. Bacon slut. God, aren't we all? 134 in Spruce. I can't wait to move out there. I can't wait for next week. I'll tell you right now. I think what people need to realize is what they want out of this country. What people really have to think about is what they want out of this country. And just like this community of like-minded individuals, where we all sit and talk, where we all discuss how we feel about the country, about the way it looks, we need to find an outlet to get to politicians what we want out of them in the future. And if they don't deliver, then we need to start discussing other options, founding a new party, getting support, doing something to try and make a difference before giving up and going to another country that can easily put the same stranglehold on us. Don't get me wrong, I love some of the amendments that Americans have, but I'm just not interested in giving up my identity as a Canadian because of one corrupt government. Wouldn't it be better to drive the corrupt out of here than to have to leave ourselves? We have some of the most beautiful country in the world, and it would be a real shame to give that up because of a political party, because of globalists? Do we really want to roll over and do that? It won't go down to zero April Fools, says this Canadian guy. Yeah, that might happen too. Thank you for the super chat. Pretty ain't everything. But here's the thing. I'll conduct a poll tomorrow. If you're watching this stream, go into my community tab on the channel tomorrow. I'm going to conduct a poll tomorrow saying, should we fight for Canada or should we go 51st state? I'm curious to see what the numbers are. I don't believe that 51st state is possible. Not right away. As many people think that Trump could fast track it, I'm trying to be a realist here. It's not that I don't agree with it. I'm trying to be a realist. There is a lot of political tape. Do you guys remember how long it took Quebec to have a vote for a referendum to separate from Canada? And even when those happened, look at Brexit. Brexit hasn't even fully gone through yet. They're not done ironing out all the little details. Yes, the vote has gone through, but the entire separation hasn't happened yet. These things take a lot of time. And by the time that we would agree to a 51st state idea, Trump will be gone. BJ with $5 super chat. Either the polls supporting the Liberals are tainted and corrupt, or the country completely went stupid. They're corrupt. I've shown many videos as to how they're corrupt. Many videos. Canadian guy, $2 super chat. 63 states is more possible than a 51st state. Snatch chiming in. Quebec and other separatist provinces can suck an egg. Thousands of people gave their life for this country. You have no right to break it apart. I think, again, nobody wants to break the country apart. I think that people just want... I think they're very similar to what I've said my politics are. Let me earn a living. Let me pay my bills. Let me save. Let me invest. And leave me the hell alone. Let me decide what I put in my body. Let me decide where I go shopping. Let me decide what I buy, who I talk to, where I go. You're not in charge of me. I think that's all people want in this country. But again, my question is, do we roll over and let it all go to hell just because of a couple of politicians? Or do we rise up and tell our other parties, you either fix this when you get in office, or you can expect us all on your front lawn with torches and pitchforks? Because we're going to revolt. Now, I don't want YouTube to think I'm promoting violence. We're not talking about like going Tesla on the government. But I guess just like, how do I say this? Because I've already said that I agree with people who have the 51st state opinion, because I understand their desperation. I understand that they're fed up. But I guess just like the people who easily buy into the rhetoric from the Liberals, I just can't wrap my head around people that are just so easily ready to walk away from their country because of the Liberals. And Jagmeet Singh, a guy who's banned in several countries, we're going to give up to him? To Trudeau, to Mark Carney, to the WEF? I feel like part of the problem is that if we turn our backs on Canada and leave, all it does is tell other countries and those organizations that, hey, you can go in and bulldoze anybody as long as their people are weak enough. We'd look worse than France at that point. You talk about how they surrender all the time. Like, think about that. We'd look horrible. It sounds like if we have a rough patch, the solution isn't right in front of our eyes. We apparently throw our arms in the air and surrender. That's my concern. I understand everybody being tired. I understand everybody being fed up. I understand people feeling like there's no other answer. And I understand people looking at Donald Trump and saying, I want that. I want that kind of representation. I want that feeling of patriotism again. I want that feeling of my government actually working for me, not against me. I want to share something with you guys because this actually came up this week. And I think it went under a lot of people's radars with Donald Trump. My dear friend Eva Chipiuk pointing this out. A tweet from Donald Trump. Did you guys know this with the pardons that were signed? Donald Trump has made them null and void. He's going after these guys. When Barron Trump leaned in and told Joe Biden at the inauguration, it's on, this is what it was about. The pardons that Sleepy Joe Biden gave to the unselect committee of political thugs and many others are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect because of the fact they were done by auto pen. In other words, Joe Biden did not sign them, but more importantly, he did not know anything about them. The necessary pardoning documents were not explained to or approved by Biden. He knew nothing about them, and the people that did may have committed a crime. Therefore, those on the unselect committee who destroyed and deleted all evidence obtaining during their 2 years witch hunt of me and many other innocent people should fully understand that they are all subject to investigation at the highest level. The fact is, they were probably responsible for the documents that were signed on their behalf without the knowledge of consent of the worst president in the history of our country, crooked Joe Biden. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if we had Pierre Poilievre talk like that about Justin Trudeau or Mark Carney and come out and say, when I become prime minister, I'm going to throw these crooks in jail. I'm going to put an end to mafia-style government. I'm going to clean things up. I'm going to make sure Canadians aren't abused ever again because I love my country. Here's something I don't understand about the separation movement. You're angry about the tyranny of the majority of Eastern Canada. You think Washington, D.C. will be any better. I mean, again, at some point, Trump leaves. I don't trust any politician. I don't care, American, Canadian, whoever. I don't trust politicians. Look at it this way. People showed their real face during the pandemic. And we are several that are just tired to fight for this country. Not because we don't love it. We do, but we're tired. At Suki Link, that is exactly what I've been saying. And that's why I say I understand and sympathize for anybody who feels this way. I get why people are so downtrodden about the future of this country. Like I said, you have YouTubers saying the same thing. Hey, throw your hands up in the air. Who cares? Let's abandon hope on Canada. I'm sorry if I'm naive. I'm sorry if I love my country. The whole reason I got into this business is because I wanted to save my country if I could have any influence. And look at the community we've built. Look at this amazing community of people that haven't hit 500 likes on the stream yet, by the way. I guess you guys don't want free memberships. If we can do this, we can do anything if we set our minds to it. Canadian guy, $5 super chat. They should make Marco Mendicino share a cell with Paul Bernardo. That would all be great. But again, I want future governments being told, start holding these people accountable or we're coming for you next. I want Pierre to come out and start saying, all right, you guys want justice? I'm going to get it. I'll do everything in my power to make sure those who have committed crimes answer for them and get jail time. Jail, not bail. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button below the stream, not in the chat. We're at 498. Really? Is that all we need is 2 likes to give free memberships? Come on, guys. Get those 2 likes in there. I want to shout out Carson, Carbon Tax Carson. Always helping out the stream. Always offering those memberships. Look, he did it again. 10 gifted memberships to the Patriots Club. Carbon Tax Carson supports this channel on a level far above any other, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Amazing, amazing community member. Thank you for supporting the stream. Thank you for gifting those 10 memberships. Absolutely amazing. what we have to remember with Mark Carney, and there's something I want to talk about because I have a video coming out tomorrow kind of detailing it, but there's something people are missing when it comes to Mark Carney, when it comes to what happens before an election. Mark Carney has a limit in power right now. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Mark Carney is not able to pass any laws. He is not allowed to bring in any new bills. Carbon tax Carson, $2. It's pronounced cabron. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There's a policy called a custodial policy or something along those lines. I've got the article in the video tomorrow, so go check it out. But this custodial agreement basically says that he's not an elected prime minister. He's a representative. He's a leader of the Liberal Party until he goes back to Parliament and has the full support of a government when he's given a mandate. And all these people go, well, Danielle Smith, I saw it in the video today. Danielle Smith had the same treatment. She was custodial and she ran for Alberta. I got news for you. Danielle Smith had the same position as Mark Carney, yes. And she didn't pass anything until she got her 4-year mandate from Albertans. I hate to burst anybody's bubble who wants to crap on Danielle Smith, but she actually followed the rules. She didn't put anything into bills or any processes forward until she actually got her 4-year mandate. I don't know if people are aware of that. But this custodial agreement basically, or this custodial policy basically says that Mark Carney can't pass any new laws. In fact, he's supposed to basically just be a placeholder. He's supposed to sit there and look pretty. He's not actually supposed to be flying all over the place and meeting with King Charles. He's not supposed to be doing any new business. Do you guys want me to bring up the article? Maybe I bring up the article. If you promise to watch the video tomorrow and leave a comment and a thumbs up, I'll share the article right now. We'll go over it. Mark Pope, $20 super chat. The USA is a constitutional republic. Canada has no constitution because our government proved to all of us it is not worth the paper it's written on. What does that tell you? There is no going back. I agree, and thank you for the $20 super chat. I agree. And that's the problem, is that I'm the worst person to advocate for either because I see both sides of the fence. I understand both arguments. And I wish there was somewhere we could meet in the middle. You know, like I love my country, but at the same time, I understand because I share the frustration. Guys, I don't want to hang on a second here. Where's this article? Tristan Hopper bringing out an article. I'm going to share it with you guys. Because this is the same explanation that goes on with Danielle Smith. Why can I not read Tristan Hopper's article? Hang on, let me bring it up. Mrs. Fringe sent me the entire article. I gotta bring it up here. I'm sorry, folks. I didn't have this ready because I covered it on a video. And I didn't think we'd be talking about it tonight. Oh, guys, I didn't think we'd be talking about it. Talking, like walking. Why is there nothing in this folder? Hold on. Oh, let me pull it up. Now I got to go into my history because even the link isn't there. I'm sorry, guys. Are you guys having a good time in the stream at least? Are you guys enjoying yourselves today? I hope so. Let me find. Here we go. I got the link here. Finally, I can be a little more professional. We can start talking about Mark Carney and his corruption. Carbon tax, Mark Carney. Reg says, oh, yes, I'm having a good time. I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. I'm glad you guys are having a good stream. Here's why you guys can not panic. Everybody says Wyatt Claypool's got the 411. Listen to old Fringe. Listen to Fringe. Fringe has you covered here. Tristan Hopper actually was responsible for how the Prime Minister stole freedom going viral when the National Post published an article about the book, kind of making Canadians aware it even existed. So I like Tristan Hopper's first reading articles. But here's what he talks about here. And again, you guys got to go watch the video tomorrow. If I find out you guys didn't watch the video tomorrow, I'm going to be really upset. George is getting upset. Mark Carney will now be Canada's 24th replacement for Justin Trudeau. But the unique circumstances of his appointment mean that he technically shouldn't be allowed to do anything. No appointments, no new spending or taxes, no foreign policy commitments, nothing at all that isn't routine, non-controversial, and reversible. It's all part of the Caretaker Convention, a long-standing parliamentary tradition which holds that a prime minister is able to command the confidence of the House of Commons. He's not allowed to wield the full powers of his office. In fact, he's not supposed to do almost any of the things Canadians typically associate with their prime minister. It says avoid participating in high-profile government-related domestic and international events, reads the official Privy Council guide of the Caretaker Convention. So this also includes international visits and the signing of treaties and agreements. So Mark Carney should not be going to England. He should not be meeting with the king. He should not be going to France and talking to Macron. But he's already breaking the rules. This is where I'm saying that if Pierre wants to flip on his campaigning, if he wants to start coming back in the poll, start pointing this out. Start talking about this and saying the guy won't even reveal his assets. He's not even listening to the Caretaker Convention. Like, is this who you want in charge? You believe anything this guy says, this clown? It says here the only real exception. Caretaker prime ministers are also asked to steer clear of appointments, policy decisions, new spending, negotiations or consultations, non-routine contracts, and grants and contributions. Again, Danielle Smith had to do all of those things before she got her 4-year mandate. So for anybody who chimed in on my video earlier today saying, well, Danielle Smith's just as bad as Mark Carney because she was injected as well. She didn't get a mandate. They had an election very soon after, and she got her 4-year mandate. So don't feed me that nonsense. It says here, the only real exception to this is anything that could be deemed urgent and in the public interest. That's why they want the tariff war. If it's labeled urgent and within the public interest, Mark Carney can essentially say, well, this is why I'm doing it, because Orange Man bad. Tariff, tariff, tariff. There's always a reason behind what they're doing. We're going to have to watch that carefully because this is going to be the tool that's used. And that's why, again, Pierre should be calling it out. Pierre, people are saying you kind of sounded like Pee Wee Herman. That's my name. Don't wear it out. God, I used to do Pee Wee Herman when I was like a teenager. The Voice. Not Paul. I know Paul Rubens had some weird things. It wasn't Paul Rubens. That's not what I meant. Oh, God, I put my foot in my mouth. Just dig the hole deeper, Derek. Keep going. Shut up, walking. In the first hours as Prime Minister, Carney is already acting beyond the limits of a caretaker. Shortly after his swearing in, he signed an order, like an executive order. No, he didn't. He signed a piece of paper that had no meaning to get rid of the consumer carbon tax. Next week, he was planning to travel to the UK and France on official business, which again, he shouldn't have been. When asked by a reporter when he would be convening the House of Commons, he brushed it off. The news today is behind me. An exceptional group of individuals who are serving Canada. We will be going to take some decisions which directly meet some of the objectives I set out in my remarks. He said, that's the news for today. So I'm not going to answer your questions. I'm not going to feed into your rhetoric because I'm just as entitled as Justin Trudeau. Like, this is where we have a problem. It says here that the caretaker convention usually clicks in during election campaigns as soon as writs are dropped and Parliament is dissolved. The idea is that the sitting Prime Minister has lost the confidence of the House and should conduct himself with appropriate reserve. Given that the government cannot assume that it will command the confidence of the House after the election, it is incumbent upon a government to act with restraint during an electional period, reads the official caretaker convention guide. But it's arguable that the caretaker convention applies just as equally to Carney, given that he hasn't received Parliament's official blessing as the new Prime Minister. It says, unlike, say, the US presidency, the office of Prime Minister is not a directly elected position. The position isn't even mentioned in the British North American Act, Canada's founding constitution. Instead, it refers only to the executive powers of the Governor General, who acts on the advice of the Privy Council. Only in practice did this become a system in which the Governor General defers to the executive decisions of Prime Minister, provided the Prime Minister has the legitimacy to govern. Now, I'm not going to get into the rest of it because you guys got to tune in and watch tomorrow's video. Okay? Okay. Make sure you go and watch it. This is why we need to be concerned about future governments. Justin Trudeau and his government have disregarded the rules for the last 10 years. AgaCon, We Charity, Dalian, Arrive Scam, the whole 9 yards. Jamaican vacations, you name it. They're just waving the corruption in our faces. So again, I would encourage people, go to the rallies, go to your MPs' open houses, email them, flood their emails, and start saying, when are we going to get some representation in our government? When are we going to get real people in our government that give a damn, that want to change the rules to benefit Canadians? And if you're not prepared to, maybe we need to split the vote. Maybe you guys get a minority government. Maybe we found a new party. Maybe we kick your ass to the curb because we don't want any uniparties. We want representation. We want real conservatives in the Conservative Party. I know it's weird to ask for that, but we should be getting real conservatives within the Conservative Party. Two Stroke saying too big to rig. CB nailing it. I want them to pay for all the bullshit they've pulled. That's what I want Pierre to come out and say. Now, as Rajan says, it's hopium. It is hopium. I'm overdosing on hopium, saying that I want Pierre to come out and start saying, all right, guys, you know what? Enough of this. I'm going to start throwing people in jail. Pull a Trump. Go full Trump. And say, if you're sick and tired of being poor, if you're upset with the fact that you can't feed your kids every week, guess what? You're going to get a little justice. Because I'm going to throw all these clowns in jail. I'm going to investigate them. I'm going to turn up every rock. I'll start using tax dollars to go full bore and find out how deep this corruption goes. Doge Canada. We're going to recall all that wasted money and we're going to put these crooks in jail. I'd happily pay more taxes for that. In fact, I would pay a carbon-style carbon tax, just not for carbon, but for funding this operation. I would be happy. I'm sure every Canadian would be happy paying into something like that if every dollar went to prosecuting these criminals to make sure they all got what was coming to them. If he goes full Trump, he'll lose. The Libs win and Canada will be dead within 2 years. So there's the question that I ask everybody. Because everyone makes the problem. I don't want to shoot down that comment or make anybody think that I'm questioning their comment. Let me acknowledge the super chat, then I'm going to get to what I'm saying. $5 super chat from Scotty. When government manages business and business manages the people, it's called fascism. Yes, it is. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Here's the problem with Pierre, is that people aren't demanding more. They're making excuses. And I understand the legitimacy of that explanation, because I agree that if he were to go Trump, he loses Southern Ontario. He would lose woke voters in Toronto. But he's already losing those points. So what I'm saying is do we want somebody to run for office who's going to be honest with us, or and we make excuses for them? Like, do we want to keep making excuses for Pierre, saying, well, he's just not saying what we want him to say because if he does, he'll lose the election? Here's my question on that. Here's the rebuttal on that. What happens if Pierre gets in and doesn't change his tone? Is everybody then going to say, well, he can't change these laws or he can't do these things because he won't get a second term? He won't get the vote of the people? Do you guys remember when Justin Trudeau talked about electoral reform? When he said he was going to change the boundaries? Why can't Pierre do that? Why can't Pierre get in and then produce electoral reform so that the seats are more fairly distributed amongst Canada and then see how they behave? Canadian guy with a $2 super chat. Carney is a mix of good old Mr. Burns and Krusty the Clown. Oh, God, no, I'm not even going to try that one. I haven't had enough liquor to do Krusty the Clown. I used to do a pretty mean Krusty the Clown laugh. I haven't done it in about 20 years. But I can't do Homer. Dan Castanella has a very unique voice. I can't do Homer. I can't do it. I can't. Lee with $2 super chat. Pierre has to win GTA. That's it. Fair enough. But my question is, what happens if Pierre wins that? And I'm not trying to doom and gloom here. I'm asking just a general question amongst my audience, because we're all pretty much Pierre supporters for the most part. What happens if we make the excuse that Pierre can't say what we want him to say because he's got to appease those voters, and he gets in and doesn't change his tune? What then? What happens then? That's where I keep saying, before we sign that dotted line, before we sign that contract for a 4-year mandate, you have to at least let these politicians know that, hey, you're treading on thin ice, and we're going to be watching you, and we're going to hold you accountable. There's no fanboying here. There's no AI muscle-bound pictures of you being distributed if you screw up this job. We're not going to let it slide like the public had to with Justin Trudeau. Somebody should be telling these politicians, you're going to need the Emergency Act if you don't do your damn job. There's more of us than there are of them. And that's not me encouraging violence, but there is power in numbers. Lee with a $2 super chat. What happens if the Liberals win? Pick one. Well, that's the conundrum we're in. Nobody wants the Liberals, but what I'm asking you is, again, it's sort of going back to these people that are pro 51st. Do you see now where they feel defeated? Where they start to say, I just don't feel like things are going to change. I'm too far abused. I don't know what the solution is. That's why I'm asking you, the viewer. I'm not going to sit here and toot my horn and say, I'm pro 51st. I'm pro separatism. I'm pro Canada. I'm pro Pierre. I'm not going to say any of that, because honestly, I don't know what the hell to do anymore. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I've said it before. I'm politically homeless. It's because our country is a goddamn circus. He will cut taxes and do what he said, or he'll have to change government again. But then, Sebastian, who does it go back to? Again, this is what I'm saying. $5 super chat. Canadian Tax Federation should make up our version of Doge. I know all the people that are listed there. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I don't think anybody tied to YouTube or any of that should make up Doge. I think what you need is Elon, or you need somebody tied to them that have no reason. The reason Elon works for Doge, and people can say, well, his company's in the United States, he's benefiting from that. He's one of the richest men in the world. He has no reason to screw with the system. He has no reason. People are going to say, well, he has a reason. It's a stock portfolio. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. Tesla's kind of in the toilet right now. He's not benefiting Tesla. Regent saying we need a republic. I agree with what Norman's saying. I do agree that PP's sitting back too much, and I said it last Friday. I hope we start to see some teeth. I hope he realizes now he's got to come out swinging or he's going to lose this. Canadian Patriot, Pierre won't be able to change anything because Trudeau stacked the Senate with libtards. There are ways around that. Kenzie Kraken, $2 super chat. Carney will cheat. We need too big to rig. Yes. Maple Kitty, Jordan Peterson, Kevin O'Leary for Doge. The problem again, and where I'd argue that, as much as I like Kevin O'Leary, is he has investments in Canada. It's no different than Mark Carney not disclosing his assets, right? It's Kevin O'Leary would have too much to gain by stacking the deck in favor. I don't want to say it completely. I mean, maybe there would have to be agreements in place or certain rules for O'Leary to do that. But again, he's very efficient when it comes to business. So I'm kind of 50-50 on that one. Kinsey Kraken, $2 super chat. Carney will cheat. Oh, I already got that one. Thank you again for the super chat. Smitty saying they already cheated. They did. And that's, again, what Pierre should be bringing out. That how does anybody vote for these guys? How does anybody vote for these clowns? Look at Jugmeat Singh. His party right now, even though their numbers have dropped, their numbers should be at 0. 0. Because I don't know anybody who's insane enough to vote for them and say that they're doing a good job. I mean, maybe they're friends. I don't know. You're the most honest on YouTube, says Ruth. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, that sums it up. Yeah, they're all retarded. And they're kind of like the Boston girls. Oh, yeah, had it. Oh, I'm going to go stuff my mouth with Pepperidge Farm. I want a politician who's going to come out, who's going to say, I'm going to reduce the size of government. I'm going to reduce the spending in government. I'm going to cut taxes on overtime. I'm going to cut taxes significantly. I'm going to lower the cost of your food. I'm going to lower the cost of your fuel. I'm going to open up trade. I'm going to start draining the corruption in this country. We're going to get rid of NGOs. We're going to get rid of all the benefits that mass corporations get while middle-class people pay the price. We're going to start working for the representatives that put us in our mandate, not the other way around. The problem, so we can say the R word now. What's that, retarded? Yeah, we totally can. Can we say the N word too? What's the N word? No. And you can say no if you want. Nobody's stopping you from saying no. It's I'll say it again that I'm politically homeless. I don't know what to do anymore, to be honest. I try my best to cover what's going on in the country. I try to highlight what's important to notice, what I think people should be paying attention to. Sometimes I'll point out some funny stuff. I've got some really great funny stuff coming your guys' way. In fact, not all of it Canadian, because sometimes we just need a laugh. Keep your eyes out for those videos. But for the most part, I'm not other channels that try to delve more deep into the inner workings of our government. I'm not going to pretend that I have an answer, because the honest truth is I don't think anybody has an answer. I really don't think anybody has an answer right now. And I think people, when you look at 51st State, when you look at people that are fed up, when you look at people that are like me, that are naive and hoping for better days, I think everybody's just so fed up. They're just hoping for something better than what we currently have. And it's really sad that we've gotten to that position in our lives. I miss the days, even of my 20s, that, well, people hated George Bush and people hated, Jean Chrétien and things like that, but people just mildly hated them. They mostly got on with their lives. Their lives were affordable. I was always told that if you work hard and work your way up through a company and do the best you can, you'll get ahead in life. You know, I miss those days where the biggest care in the world was, what am I doing this weekend? I don't know how we got here, honestly, because it's not just Justin Trudeau. It's not just globalists. We allowed it to get here. That's part of the problem. I don't know if you guys are willing to take responsibility. I don't know if this country is willing to take responsibility, but we let this happen. Lee with a $5 super chat. What I love about the Fringe is, although we don't always agree, Derek, you have enough balls to debate me, unlike other channels. Kudos. Lee, it's not even a matter of debate. I think at the end of the day, we can all be adults and agree to disagree. I've got friends who call Elon Musk bad guy from WW2. I've got friends who vote NDP because their spouses work as teachers and they believe that the unions have the best interests for the teachers, and that if you vote NDP, they're going to get better pay scale. They're going to get more programs funded, and they have woke ideologies. But it doesn't stop me from being friends with them, even though I tell them they're stupid. I'm still going to be friends with them at the end of the day because we're all adults. At least we should be. Any channel on this platform that doesn't want to hear your opinion and respect it, any channel out here that says you're wrong for having an opinion, they're not very bright. Any other channel that censors that out, it just shows that they're weak and they can't hold an argument to what you're talking about. Maybe they're in the wrong business. I don't know. I don't want to speak for them. But the reason I'll step back and take a look at what's going on this channel and hear what you guys have to say, even if we don't agree, is because just as I've said tonight when we're talking about the 51st state, when we're talking about people that are fed up, when we're talking about people who want a better government and don't want to give up their country, while there's people on both sides that are disagreeing with each other, I'm sitting here saying, look, I've taken a step back. This is what I would advise everybody do. We all have our opinions, but take a step back. And instead of saying, this is how I feel, and that's the way it's always going to be, I think a better way to make this country function better would be if we all take a look back at what the reasons are that people are having these opinions. Why do people feel that way? Why do people feel betrayed by their government? Why do people want to separate? Instead of just saying, well, they're just betraying their country, they're traitors. But what got them there? They didn't just wake up one day and say, I hate Canada, I want to leave. Well, I know some people who did. I'm not allowed to mention them. But nonetheless, they all got there by some means. And when we can understand the human condition, when we understand our brothers and sisters, and we understand why they're frustrated, we understand how terrible their lives have been that have gotten them to the point that they've given up. There's hope to educate. There's hope to be there for someone to lean on, to hear their gripes and to say, is there another solution? And if not, we can agree to disagree. Because for the time being, no matter whether you're 51st state, whether you want Pierre, whether you want Max, if you're in here and you want Mark Carney, I don't know what you're doing in here, but hey, that's your choice. We're all still Canadians, at least for now. And the feeling that I got when I saw those trucks going down the highway to tell the government to shove it up their ass, the feeling that I got that my country was back, the feeling that I got saying, there's the Canada I miss. That to me, that feeling, that notoriety of patriotism is worth fighting for. And I'll push for it for as long as I can because I want that. Everybody can say it doesn't exist anymore. It's not going to come back. You're not going to get that. But I'll fight to find out for myself, or at least I'll fight until I've got nothing left in the tank. But I want to be proud of my country again. I want the people living here to be proud of it again. I don't want people here allowing others to invade it and push their personal beliefs on us anymore. I don't want corporations taking advantage of the middle class anymore. I don't want a government taxing us to death so that they can enjoy life while we all act like peasants. I'll say it again, as I've said multiple times. I just want to live my life, pay my bills, have a future for my children, invest, save some money for the end so that when I'm off this earth, my kids have money to live off of, and for the government to leave me alone. Don't tell me what I can buy. Don't tell me what I need to put in my body. Don't tell me where I can go and who I can talk to. I'll work. I'll pay a reasonable amount of taxes. If it's paying for roads, if it's paying for the right things, if it's paying for programs that are necessary, I'll shut up and I'll pay to a certain extent. But I'm contributing because I believe in the idea of Canada, not because I believe in the idea of government. But if you're not going to treat me fairly, if you're not going to represent me when I give you my vote, then we're going to end up where we currently are, where people are frustrated and people don't have any other answers, where people feel politically homeless. If I was Pierre Poilievre and I was able to hear a large majority of Canadians saying that they feel politically homeless right now, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, knowing that that many people are unhappy in their own country. Pierre Poilievre wants to push back on Donald Trump and say, we'll never be the 51st state. What he should be asking Canadians is, why are you so low that you feel that that's the answer? Don't you care about this country anymore? What can I do to bring you back? What can I do to put your faith back in this country? That's the side of Pierre I want. I want a Pierre that's going to fight for every single Canadian that puts a check mark on his ballot. I feel after meeting with him and talking with him that he generally cares about Canada. You guys are welcome to speculate however you wish because you guys see him in media, you guys hear the rallies, you guys talk uniparty. There's people who talk many different angles, just like we've talked with other things tonight. But after sitting and talking with this man, I generally believe that he loves his country, that he cares about it. And if he's fooled me, then good on him. I guess I'll find out if he becomes prime minister at this point. But as we're on that topic, do not believe the polls. Do not believe the people on social media that keep posting, oh, look at this poll up today. Look at betting sites are up for Mark Carney. All these. It's all theater. It's all there to sway either the vote or to convince you not to bother. Because if the polls start showing that Mark Carney is undefeatable, just like Liberals thought when Pierre Poilievre had a 20-point lead on Justin Trudeau. Excuse me. A lot of Liberals were starting to say, well, what's the point in voting if Trudeau's gone? If he has no hope, if the Liberals have no hope, what's the point in voting? I won't even bother. That's the reason they're rigging the polls. They don't want Conservatives to vote. They don't want you to go out there. They don't want that check mark next to Pierre's name. As it's been said multiple times in the stream tonight, we have to make it too big to rig. Don't listen to anything aside from your own opinion. Get educated, make up your own mind, decide who's best for you. And make sure you do your due diligence and vote. And if you feel that voting does nothing, if you're a member of this community, do it just to say you did your part as the Fringe. You did your part for the viewers who want a better country or who believe in a better country. Go stand in a line and put your name on that form. I would rather we give it one more shot than give up. I've always told my kids a few important things in life. I've told them, for one, that your word is the most valuable thing you have on this earth. If you disrespect your word, if you break your word to people, not only is your reputation down the toilet, but you have nothing of value to give to anybody. Pierre needs to remember that when he goes to run for office. But the other things I've told my kids is that I try not to lose, but I never quit. I don't quit unless I hear a bell. And ladies and gentlemen, in this country, I ain't hear no bell yet. We're just getting started. Anybody who has a 51st state opinion, I'm pleading to you. Please don't give up on this country yet. Please. There are good people here. We're all in this community together. We're all like-minded. Fight for your country. One last stand. If corruption rears its ugly head after this election, I'll join you. But don't give up without a fight. Please. Just go with it. I almost said just go. Just go with it. $10 super chat. If we don't get a change, I hate to see what Canada will become because I love this country. I see a dark path with Carney. Critical thinking is key. Yes, and thank you so much for the $10 super chat. The fat lady is singing. Did Rosemary Barton go out into the streets? Is she singing? I didn't see her sing. I didn't hear no bell. Let's I'm the most honest YouTuber. Look, guys, I appreciate the nice comments. Thank you. What? Who do you really want to win? Whoever's going to fix my country. Whoever's going to get us back to normal. Some form of normal. Whoever's going to make my life more affordable. Who's going to create jobs. Who's going to build homes. Who's going to remove and get rid of and destroy taxes that are plaguing humanity. A non-globalist would be nice. Spiky Mikey, $2 super chat. You don't hear a bell. Then we need more cowbell.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Go Donnie, $5 super chat. In my house, I taught my kids never to listen to the word no, but instead listen for the yes in the question. Go Pierre. Great analogy. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Guys, how we kind of gone over time. Let's wrap it up with some Q&A. Throw your Q&A into the streams. Let's see what you have to say. I'll walk and I'll hang out and answer your questions. Reg saying, can we chat over a coffee or tea? Reg, I will be doing a meet and greet as soon as we move to Spruce at some point in the near future. We can chat at that meet and greet. Please feel free to come up there. I'd love to meet all my viewers. We have a lot of viewers around the Edmonton Spruce Grove area. I look forward to meeting all of you. You've all been so welcoming. I generally feel like I'm moving home next week. I can't wait to get out there. John saying, Derek, what are your favorite walk-in movies? I recently just rewatched The Stepford Wives. We showed it to my 10-year-old daughter. As cheesy as it is, and as much as I'm not a big fan of Matthew Broderick. I just find him whiny. I like The Stepford Wives, Pulp Fiction, Deer Hunter, amazing movies. I liked him in Joe Dirt as the janitor. I thought but Deer Hunter is probably one of my favorites. Darren says, I'm looking forward to it as well. That's great. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you guys. I think it's going to be great. Trump doesn't like Pierre. He said so. Well, they've never had a discussion. So I'll wait until they meet in a room and make a decision from there. Julia saying, we need a live stream in the mornings. Coffee with the Fringe. Oh, you guys don't want to see me in the morning. I'm too cranky. Listen, I haven't had my cowbell. You don't want to see me in the morning. I'd be like Krusty the Clown. I'd be sitting here, I don't want to talk about anything. Do you know when PP will be coming to Calgary for a rally, says Carol? I have no idea. I don't know. Pierre's people don't really chat with me as much as they used to, because other people have told them not to. I don't know. check his site. Maybe his site will have listings. I don't know. Arthur saying, can I be there for the Dragon's Lair interview? I'll think about it. We'll see. I know Dragon's Lair is really finicky about who's around. We'll see what we can do. We'll pull some strings. Let's see. Are there any other? Is your booze stores all state or province owned? So it really depends, Chad, by province. I'm assuming you're in the United States asking. Alberta isn't governed with its liquor stores like they don't have provincial clause in the liquor stores like provinces like British Columbia, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario. They have liquor controlled boards. We have open market in Alberta. So while we do have the Alberta Liquor Commission, they don't have their hands in the sales of alcohol. The government doesn't have a hand in it. It's an open market, which I like. I don't think the government should have their hands in that business. Let me see. I'm trying to find more. Will today's newly appointed members be eligible for this month's giveaway? Yes, Mike. Any members of the Patriots Club, anybody who joins even on the evening of the draw, if you're a member before the end of the month, last stream of the month, every last Friday, we do the draw. You could join and you're entered into the draw automatically once you become a member. It's a randomizer that picks through all of our members. So if you're drawn, yes, you can get in. So everybody who became a member of the Patriots Club tonight is now included in those draws. Suicide Kings is awesome. Yes. Riley saying you said you generally believe Pierre has the interest of Canadians at heart. Do you mean to say generally or genuinely? I'd say both. He genuinely has Canadians' interests at heart. He's a good guy. I like him. I've said it before that one of the things I appreciated about him was I've spoken about his assistants and I've spoken about his PR team and how I don't like them and how I don't like how they handle things. And they're always so worried about every little detail, every little image. And Pierre could see the tension when we met and we chatted. And he saw me getting pushed out of the room and just, okay, it's time to go. Pierre's busy. I get all those things. And as I was walking out, Pierre turned around and he says, hey, Derek. And I said, yeah. He says, keep up the good work. Nice little smile on his face. Nice man. Very genuine when I spoke with him. He cares. A lot of people have these images of him because of his press conferences, about his pandering, about anything that you want to point out. And I've been critical of him, but I think it's fair to be critical of any government. I've had chats with Danielle Smith where I've said, people don't like when I question you. And she laughs and says, well, you should question everybody. Like, that's how we stay accountable. Criticism is something we should welcome in government because we're not always right. I've criticized Pierre, but I also think he's a good man, and I think he's a good father. I think he's cut from the cloth that's necessary to run this country. I think he'll make a good leader. I hope he becomes a leader. Does Jack's Drive-In have the best milkshakes? Reg, are you affiliated with Jack's? Are you looking for another shout out to Jack's? Because I've already given them so much free publicity, but yes, Jack's does have the best milkshakes. I can't wait. My wife said, if you ever piss me off, I'm going to go to Jack's and get a milkshake. I said, that's worse than cheating. You can't do that. Carney wants to bring in the CBDC. What's your opinion? How do we prevent that? We can't. We make sure it's too big to rig. Anybody gets in but Carney. That's how we prevent it. That's the only way to prevent it. Did I miss Kinsey becoming a new member? I think I just missed it. I did 2 minutes ago. Kinsey Kraken becoming a member because Reg Porter gifted one unacceptable Fringe membership into the Patriots Club. Thank you and welcome to Kinsey. I just joined the stream, but did you see Trump just endorsing Carney? What? Did that happen? Did Donald Trump literally endorse Mark Carney? No, he didn't. Come on. Tiffany, you should go to work at Jack's, manage it. You could have milkshakes every day. No, thanks. Tiffany's got way too much. He did? Rob's saying, wait, well, hold on, guys. I know it's question period. Why would Donald Trump endorse Mark Carney? There's got to be something behind it. There's got to be a troll going on. Hang on. Keep in mind, Mark Carney said he's not going to talk to Donald Trump until the 51st state jokes stop. Seven hours ago, Carney signals he's in no rush to speak with Trump. One week ago, 4 days ago, 2 days ago, 1 week ago. I'm not seeing anything here talking about him endorsing him. Trump pulled the rug from the liberals? Well, how did he do that if he endorsed them? There's got to be something going on here. He said it would be easier to crush Carney. Pleb has a video on it. Okay, well, Pleb also said that we were having an election right away. So, oh, come on. I'm not going to be mean to the Pleb. I like the Pleb. But is that just word salad, or did he actually endorse Mark Carney? Did Donald Trump physically say, I endorse Mark Carney? Let me check the Pleb's Twitter, because if he's talking about it, he's probably tweeted it out. Why did President Trump... Oh, so he didn't endorse Mark Carney. He just said, I hope the liberals win. They're easier to deal with. So it's a joke. It's a joke. He didn't endorse Mark Carney. An endorsement would mean that Donald Trump says, my name is Donald J. Trump, and I endorse Mark Carney for Prime Minister of Canada. He's him saying the liberals are a win because they're easier to deal with. He's talking about easier to step on. They're easier to kick out the door and ignore. What he's basically saying, if you really want to twist the words, he's saying that he doesn't want to deal with Pierre because he knows they're actually going to have to come to an agreement. Trump's going to have to give up something. He's saying that Pierre can negotiate with him. Yeah, exactly. Here it is. Here it is. He means the liberals are those words I can't say. Trump can't go up against a conservative. It's watch Marty up north. No, I don't need to. He didn't physically endorse him. He said the liberals, they're easier to deal with. That's it. This is Trump saying they're weak. That's not an endorsement. That's not an Oh, come on, that's terrible. Don't buy the clickbait, guys. Come on. Look, I understand guys got to make a living on YouTube. I'm not going to criticize them for that, but that's clickbait. That's a trap. It's a trap. That's no endorsement. In fact, if anything, it's a kick in the crotch. It's saying that they're pathetic and weak, and that's why he'd rather deal with them, because they don't present any challenge. He said that so everybody gets out and votes for Pierre. Well, I mean, look, last week Trump had tweeted out that Justin Trudeau was using the tariffs to cling to power. Why would he say that and then endorse Carney? He's not endorsing Carney. Donald Trump also said that America doesn't need Canada or its products, but still wants to annex Canada. Well, here's the thing. See, when you talk about business, Business ethics. When you're talking about the world of business, you don't go into a meeting like Justin Trudeau did at Mar-a-Lago and say, hey, we don't have anything, but we're going to pretend to be big boys at the table. When you're negotiating with somebody, you have to pretend, or at least give the illusion that you have all the cards. I'll put it in an easy analogy for everybody to understand. If you go into a car dealership to buy a $20,000 car, and you say to the salesman, how much is this car? And they say it's $20,000. You don't go, okay, here's $20,000. You say to them, I like the car, but you know what? I know a few other places I can get a car similar to this for less. I don't need to spend that much. Why should I buy your car? And then they start talking about all the features that it has and all the great things that it needs. You start saying, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $15,000. That's all I'm going to spend today. That's what Trump's doing by saying that Canada, they don't need that stuff from Canada, but he wants to annex it. He's just not giving up his cards. He's not going to come out and say, yeah, we do need Canada, because then it becomes a stalemate with the negotiations. This is all part of a negotiation. This is business talk. It's lingo. There's two sides to people when it comes to politics. There's those who believe the people in politics are just spouting policy and what they're the data that they're collecting. And then there's the side of it now with Donald Trump, where he brings a lot of business acumen into the political aspect, where he treats it like a business. He treats it like a corporation. You want spend less, higher profits, right? Costs down, profits up. So he's not going to say that they need Canada. Goko with a $2 super chat. Are you Canadian or commie? Dead simple. Well, that's a good question. If you're asking me, I hope not, because I don't think I've given any illusion that I'm a commie. But Derek, is the place you will do your get together, is it wheelchair friendly? I would assume it will be. We'll probably just pick out like a pub or something like that somewhere. Most places are these days, so yeah, I'm not gonna do it in a high rise with no elevator access or anything. I'll try to be very accommodating for everybody that wants to be there. And again, we'll give plenty of notice for that get together. I've got a few things I got to sort out when we get to Spruce Grove. Number one, I got to figure out where I'm going to film in the new house until we build the studio, because that's going to take a couple of weeks. I got to get the studio done. We got to get settled, get the kids in school. And then at some point, within about a month or so, we'll announce a get together. We'll get something done. So be patient with me, folks. We will do a get together though. You're barely a Calgarian, says Rick. Well, oh, come on. That's kind of insulting. I mean, I've lived here for 30 years. And just because I'm moving doesn't mean I mean, technically when I leave, I'm no longer a Calgarian, but I love Calgary. I just hate what it's become. And it's too bad. But I even had to pull my son out of school 2 days early. He was supposed to finish at the end of the week on Thursday because spring break, but I had to pull my kid out of school early because he gets bullied every day and the school doesn't do anything about it. They'd rather do land acknowledgements than fix the problem with bullying at their school. My kid came home with bruises on his arms the other day and in tears. And I says, okay, you're done. You can have one more day to go back and say goodbye to your friends and then you're done. I'm not saying that doesn't happen in other places, but the way that the Calgary School Board operates, yeah, I'm not a fan. Oh, Rick saying that's what I meant. Okay, good. Good. Thank you. I'm glad we cleared that up, because there are people out there that like to hurl the insults. Believe me, Fringe takes a lot of arrows all day long. Kenzie gifting 5 unacceptable Fringe memberships to the Patriots Club. Thank you so much. When Derek gets on a roll and starts going off on liberals, he sounds exactly like Winston from Still Game sitcom. It is so awesome. I'm not sure what that is, but thank you. I think that's a compliment. The back alley used to be a bar to go to. We used to call it the crack alley. I used to go there every Wednesday in my, from 18 to 22, 23 for industry nights. they had ladies' night on one side of the bar, but they would fence off the other side for industry night. I'd go there for the cheap drinks on industry night. And then when they opened up the whole bar and the dudes got off stage, yeah, it was a place to be. I remember seeing Jeff Healy Band at the Crack Alley. It was a great nightclub. Still open today, but it's not the same. Nightclubs really don't exist in Calgary the way they used to. But yeah, I had to pull my kid out of school early. The way the school handled things was that my daughter was teased in that school. In fact, there was a boy or a boy and another friend who were groping my daughter from behind. And I went into the school and says, we got a problem here. The school segregated my daughter and said, well, we don't want to have a conflict. So they segregated her as if she was the problem. And it ruined her school life. In fact, another male student in the school had been removed because the school refused to do anything for him either, because they're all a bunch of hippies in that school and they're more concerned about their virtue signaling than dealing with the problems with the students. And the parents there pulled their kid out and said their kid had the best school life afterwards. They didn't have those problems. So when it started happening to my son, I've gone to the school several times this year and said, enough is enough. But they don't want to do nothing about it. They don't want to listen to the parents. So I marched in their office this morning and said today is going to be his last day. I will be picking him up after school. He has a book he wants his friends to sign, and he's finished here. And they said, oh, any particular reason? And I said, yeah, you guys don't know how to do your goddamn jobs. I gave it to them. I said, we pay you $60 a month for supervision to watch our son, and he comes home every day crying with bruises. His jacket was thrown in the mud yesterday, and he comes home filthy. And you guys don't even bat an eye or give a damn. So no, I'm not sending my kid to school to get smacked around. And what's funny is my son could defend himself if he wanted to. And every time I've asked him, why don't you? He says, because you've told me it's wrong to hurt people. My kid has the kindest heart on the planet, and he's the nicest kid in the world. And what really sucks is that's why he gets picked on, because he's such a nice boy. He treats everybody fairly. He's a good kid. I hope things are better for him in Spruce Grove. I think they will be. I've already spoke with his new school. I've spoke with my daughter's school. They both seem like great schools. The teachers seem great. Small town typically tends to be a little more focused on their students than their programs, if that makes sense. Yeah, woke schools. It's funny because when this kid groped my daughter, and I went into the school and said, my daughter's being sexually harassed, the parent of the kid worked at the school and told her husband. The husband tried to pick a fight with me in the parking lot, fist fight. Said, you called my son this. I said, look, let's have a discussion. Nope. Dude wanted to go fisticuffs. And I'll tell you, I was prepared. But the school let it happen. Terrible school. I'll be leaving a scathing review on DoorDash. I mean, Board of Education. Would not recommend. But that's life. But that's a big city versus a small town. And that's why we're leaving Calgary. It's not because I don't love Calgary as a city. It's that woke installed mayors and woke ideologies have infiltrated this city enough that the vibe of this city has changed drastically. Mrs. Fringe walks to the C train station every day from our community of Somerset and Calgary. And I can say Somerset now because I'm leaving in a week. I don't care if I dox myself. Nobody's coming to my front door in a week. We live in the southwest portion of Calgary in Somerset, a 5-minute walk from the train station, end of the line LRT station. And there's a giant heated shelter at the LRT train station where homeless folks are in there shooting up every morning, urinating in the corners, having bonfires, and police are parked right across the street doing nothing. Absolutely nothing, because it's too much paperwork, I guess. And then the wife has to get on the train, go all the way downtown, and deal with all of that. Drunks, druggies, violence, threats, crazy people. And as she walks from the train a couple blocks to her office, you can smell the aroma of certain drugs in the air. And I'm not talking about the legalized ones. I'm talking about the ones that turn people into zombies. People are tweaked out everywhere downtown. Tiffany has said she's seen blood on the sidewalks, wondering if it's fresh. The woke mayors of this town have allowed it to go to hell. And it's too bad, because I used to love this city. I still do. I think that if the right person gets in city council, if the right mayor gets elected, hopefully Farkas wins the election. I know it's part of the reason that we decided to move, because I was told if I ran against Farkas, I'd be vote splitting. And that I don't want to carry that guilt of saying I ruined the possibility for Calgary to fix their problems. So we decided to leave. Because I can't raise my kids here anymore on a maybe. I can't raise my kids in a town where the woke mayors have driven out every major business that would give them an opportunity when they're older. I can't raise my kids in a city where they can't go to their water park across the street from our house and play in it because there's people shooting up there. There's people drinking booze in the park. There's nobody who speaks English. They're all speaking Ukrainian. You can't understand anybody. It's not the place for my family. So we pack up and move. And what's really funny about the whole thing is that I spoke to other people that said, well, you know, why Spruce Grove? And I said, well, look, my brother was going to move there. I started looking at houses about a year ago. We never had any plans to move to Spruce Grove. But when I started looking at the cost of the houses out there, the same house we bought in Spruce Grove for around the $500,000 mark, I'm not going to disclose what we paid, but we'll say around $500,000, would have cost us $950,000 here. That's a huge difference. And there's no way in hell I could have tacked on another $400,000 just to stay in Calgary. Not worth it. Manuel, $5 super chat. You're out to lunch if you think PP would prosecute past bureaucrats as Trump will do. I can still wish that they would. I'd still like to live in a perfect world where he would. I'm not saying he will. I would just like it if he did. I think small towns are where a lot of people are going to end up when they're fed up with big city. Because they're turning into havens for crime. They're turning into woke messes. Stinger saying, support your Spruce Grove Saints. I've heard about the Saints. I'm going to have to check it out. Somebody's saying try BC house prices. I know, like Vancouver, I think in their market, they were saying the average home's around $2 million right now. Like, it's crazy. Ingrid saying, I love Okotoks. You know what? We looked in Okotoks. It's just south of Calgary for anybody who doesn't know Alberta very well, like watching from around the country. Small town south of, about 20 minutes south of Calgary, about from where I live. I've got friends who live there. I love Okotoks. I often go to their Costco to get away from the city and have a break. But the houses were just as expensive there as they are in Calgary. And we said, we can't do it. We just can't spend $850,000, $900,000 on a home. Even with the equity we've built up in this house, our mortgage would be almost $4,000 a month. Who can afford that? Who the hell wants that? Our mortgage is less than $2,000 a month in Spruce Grove, and we're moving into a house that I never thought in a million years we would own. It was the first time we were able to go and look at a property where I was able to say to my wife, whatever you want, we'll get. It's your pick. There's nobody telling us, no, you can't afford it. You can't do it. And I said, this is the way life should be for everyone. Not just for us, not just for people who's taking a cheaper approach to living. I shouldn't say cheaper, more affordable approach to living. That's what buying a house used to be, is financial freedom. It was an investment. It was the opportunity to say, I want more for my family. I'm going to pay into my own pocket for a while. An investment that was affordable. It's not anymore. And that's, again, the problem where I say PP wants to talk about, well, I'm going to save you the GST on a new house. Well, on a $700,000 house, that's $35,000. I'll take the savings. But what are you going to do to bring down the cost of houses without bankrupting those who are already buying them at a high level? When do houses become affordable again? So that people who dream of homeownership aren't kept out the door. The guy who's buying this house that I'm currently sitting in, I've already been told he put down the bare minimum for a down payment. His mortgage payment's going to be $3,500 a month for this house, for a 1,495 square foot home. I'm going to have a cheaper mortgage in a 2,400 square foot home in a week. Well, this guy had to save and save and save and save just to get in the market. And his $3,500 mortgage payment is going to be before he pays expensive utility bills, before he pays for property taxes, before he pays for his cell phone, before he pays for internet, before he buys food in his fridge, clothes on his back, gas in his car, pays for a car, pays for insurance. The list goes on. How is that fair to any Canadian? It's not. And becoming part of a 51st state wouldn't change that. Because things are just as unaffordable in the United States right now as they are in Canada. So there is no easy solution. And that's why I said at the beginning of the stream, I really don't know what the solution is. I don't have an answer. I look forward to looking at the comments when the stream is over. I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say that you believe an answer is. Because honestly, I'd like to hear your position, because as I've said before, and I'll say again, I'm politically homeless. I don't know where to sit and what to think. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up the stream because I'd like to see Mrs. Fringe for at least a few minutes before she goes off to bed. I want to thank everybody who joined the stream tonight, everybody who super chatted, who became a member, who gifted memberships, Goko Donnie, BJ McGraw, Canadian guy, Mark Pope, Gogo Donnie again, Reg Porter, North 49 RC. I think I said Mark Pope. If I didn't, there it is. Asuki Link, Carbon Tax Carson, Nilok, Doc Luke. Hang on, I'm going down the list here, trying to make sure I don't forget anybody. Carbon Tax Carson, thank you again for the gifted memberships. Scotty. Lee D. Kenzie Kraken. Just Go With It. Spiky Mikey. Reg Porter. And Manuel Avila. Thank you so much to all of you for your generosity tonight in the stream. Join me Friday night for Friday Night Fringe with Mrs. Fringe. It's going to be the final Friday Night Fringe from Calgary. But don't fret, I'm going to do a final stream from Calgary after Friday before we leave so that I can keep you guys up to speed with any stories that are breaking, because I won't have time to film before the movers show up for certain days where we're packing and moving. So it won't be the final stream from Calgary, but it will be the final Friday Night Fringe from Calgary. So make sure to join me at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central on Friday. We're going to have some great content to discuss, more things that happen this week in politics. I look forward to seeing you guys there. Keep your eyes peeled again this week. I've got some great videos coming up tomorrow. I've got some humorous ones. They're not all Canadian, but you know what? Sometimes, again, while it is politic news, I think we need to have a laugh once in a while. I got some great topics coming up for you guys. Make sure you check those out. If you haven't hit the subscribe button already, what are you waiting for? Help us out and hit that button. Join our large Fringe majority here on the channel. I promised my kids a play button. Don't make me into a liar. Hit that button, folks. Join the channel. I hope you guys have a great night. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I enjoyed sitting down and chatting with you guys and hearing everything you had to say tonight. Again, for anybody I missed in the chat, I do go back and look at the chat later. So I will see your comment eventually. Let me know your thoughts to a solution after the stream ends in the comment section. I want to hear what you think a solution moving forward would be, a viable solution. Let me know what you guys think. Until then, look after each other, keep your stick on the ice, And I'll catch you on the next one, everybody. Take care. Have a great night.